Hello everyone, welcome to Mr. Hancock's English course. This video here is for Comp 1 narrative essay outlining. So what I want to do here in this video is just talk briefly about what we mean by outlining, how beneficial it really is, and look at the sample on Blackboard in the handouts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off, I'm going to go to Blackboard, and you should already be watching this video right next to the handout. It's in the content tab in the Unit 1 folder. I'm looking at the sample narrative outline. So in this assignment here, you have to think in terms of what your assignment is and your 2 points that we discussed in the narrative essay video, story and purpose. So with that being said, we first have to put together our thesis statement. And going back a little bit more, remember that while this is very organized, it should be organized as an academic essay. With this being a narrative, I want you to be creative. So if this isn't precisely the way you see in the outline with the traditional introduction, body paragraphs, conclusion, and it works more like the assignments that we're reading in our textbook, that may not necessarily be a bad thing. When we look at your rough draft and first your outline, we'll see how it works precisely, and everyone will be a little bit different, so you don't have to worry about being just the way it's supposed to be. And that'll be something I'll tell you in a few minutes, is don't write for me, write for yourself. But think about your story and think about your purpose. Put those two together into one sentence and be explicit and be clear, and that will turn into your thesis. Look at the example here at the top of the sample thesis and outline. On the day my mother slapped my face in front of the family at the 2014 Hancock family reunion, I learned to always respect others, especially my elders. Now, this is fictitious, but I was slapped by my mother many times. But let's just say it doesn't matter. This is real. Let's just say this really happened. I'm coming in and I'm telling this particular story, but notice my thesis has two things. It tells the story. It's not ambiguous. It's not wild and vague. We know exactly where this is going to go. Number two, we know what the purpose is. And this purpose comes through as a lesson. It doesn't have to be a precise lesson, but it needs to be something that your reader can grab onto and apply to his or her life. Also notice that my lesson here is something that's broad. And in a way, how broad you are can be a really good thing. For instance, let me say this. I get a lot of students who, let's just say I've had students do like an embarrassing moment. They'll like go to school with new designer jeans that they knew didn't fit, but they wore them anyway, and they split their pants. Well, something I hear a lot of people say in something like that for a lesson is, I learned to always make sure that I have pants that fit when I go out in public. Well, yeah, you did learn that, but you don't need that lesson. You need a lesson that's larger, something to where the reader can grab onto it. Maybe that's not even a situation a reader will ever experience. That lesson needs to be something that you'll carry into your life beyond just that story. It needs to be a lesson that you'll consider and think about in other situations as well. But with that being said, the first thing you need in your essay is your thesis. You cannot go into writing your essay, putting together body paragraphs, anything at all, until you know what your thesis is. And that is going to be, in this case, your story and your purpose put together. So looking up there, there's my thesis. Now let's talk about the outline itself. What is an outline and why do we need it? Your outline is a to-do list. That's the main way to look at it. It is a to-do list for each body paragraph. When you turn your outline in, every paragraph needs to be accounted for. And what you're going to do is you're going to lay out what it is precisely that you're going to cover in that paragraph. So when you do go to use it to turn it into a rough draft, you'll be able to turn and look at it and say, yes, paragraph 1, I know exactly what I'm going to say in what order before I get to paragraph 2. That way you don't stare at a computer screen for hours thinking, what do I do next? I don't know, and you're staring at it forever. You don't want to do that. The outline will keep you from doing that, and this is a perfect way to do it. Now, the organization and structure, yes, you need to account for every body paragraph, but as far as like the structure, you can use bullet points. I recommend bullet points. You can use brief sentences, words, phrases, anything that triggers in your mind what to do next. You just have to remember, number one, it needs to be short, it needs to be precise, and it needs to be to the point. These are reminders and triggers for you to know what to talk about. Do not start going into deep detail with sentences. That way, if you do that, it's just going to turn into a rough draft, and you're spinning your wheels, and you're defeating the purpose of doing an outline. Give bulleted points, words, phrases, anything that helps you remember. And you can do bullets, do whatever you want, whatever works for you, because I want you to remember, you're writing this for yourself, not me, okay? So it may not be precisely the way I do an outline, but it doesn't matter. It's the way you did the outline, and that's what matters. I want to see it work for you because you're the one that's going to turn it into to a rough draft. The final thing I want to say about this before you go into reading this and studying this and send me questions if you need, is that I want you to understand that I do not want you to give me a generic outline, meaning don't give me a spot in the introduction that says thesis, body paragraph 1, then have something that says supporting detail 1, 2, 3. That's a template. That's not an outline. I want to see your outline talk about what it is you are going to talk about exactly in your paper. If you don't give me that, I won't take it for credit. In other words, I'll take 10 points off your revised draft at the end of the day. I have that happen often. And the last thing I want to say before I stop is that even if you feel like you're doing a bad job, even if you feel like you don't know what you're doing, chances are you do. And as I had an old professor tell me one time, you can fix crap, but you can't fix nothing. So even if you feel like it's bad, don't wait. Don't go past the deadline. Send me your work. Send me the best you have anyway. Because even if it is bad, which I bet it's not as bad as you think, even if it is bad, we are still able to have something to fix and to turn into something good. You cannot have something good without starting with something rough at the beginning. So do it anyway and send it to me and I will help you, okay? And of course, if you have any questions, please let me know.